We just had all the components you need, like the venue, the place, the sound man who knows the venues really well. It was realising that on the island we had, not just with the Village Hall, but the library as well, 2 really good sounding rooms. And an island that's set up for hospitality has been for centuries.
It was definitely a kind of alignment of stars, it actually in all its composite parts maybe really should never have been successful or should never have happened, but between the combination of contacts and ability to persuade people to come and play here, but also on like the craft shop's ability to kind of help shape it and give it an identity that kind of made it work as well. So between us we had the structure, the contacts and the image, and somehow it all kind of came together.
The way it grew, it was great. The first year we had it seated. Again, it was that thing of it's kind of a hallowed venue. But that just became problematic because we had to borrow chairs from like an island over there. Growing in confidence through the years to, the last one we did with Frightened Rabbit, that was just an amazing set.
We were already in the process of exploring solutions for our building that was crumbling and leaking and freezing. And, we actually had to obviously stop the festival in the end because we were no longer confident about doing it safely in that building.
So the hall was kind of on its last legs, essentially. After each festival, we're thinking, is the next one going to happen? Not because, the enthusiasm wasn't there or the bands didn't want to play. It was more is the hall going to still be there, The 2014 one was really good. The next one was even better. The one in 2016 was really good too. The one in 2017, we kind of felt like we couldn't top it when Frightened Rabbit headlined it. It was just a really great moment, and we thought the plan was that the hall was going to be taken down in 2018.
That's been one of the challenges, is how we bring the charm and the significance of the old hall into the new building. And I think with the best will in the world, architects can't do that. That's about the people.
When we decided, during the pandemic, we couldn't put on any acts and we couldn't put on any events in this new space, and we couldn't have an audience because of, the restrictions. So we decided to make a little film about it and bring up some acts that could perform in that space, not necessarily on the stage, but in that space. So Free Love had played at a festival, I think 2017. And Susie and Lewis are such great people. They are great performers and artists, and I knew that they would be perfect. It's an accepting environment to kind of create anything. You know, if you're a painter, if you're a poet, if you're a sculptor or an actor or a musician, it's a really good place to be. And I think the festival that we put on is designed as a sort of community space for that. Ultimately, I think that anything creative, it's always interesting if it doesn't have boundaries and everything, it can morph. There's a fluidity to making something creative. If you're doing that on your own, or whether you're doing that, you know, with, I mean, not on your own, but with a band or with just a group of people, the ideas that can come out from being together and sort of sharing your sort of attitudes about things.
Part of the importance of the Village Hall Music Festival was that we were bringing all those exciting kind of artists, really quite big names, to a small island and a community. But what made it work as well for me was having that balance of every year. It was like Hannah and Sorren, who are our kind of local musicians, the Ceilidh being the kind of end point, the celebration, particularly the year that they dressed up as Kiss.
Michael came up to the festival in 2017. We got Noiriki to do a takeover of the Iona Library, and he brought up Holly McNeish, Liz Lockhead, and they just curated their own evening in the library, and a lot of that fed into the hall. Like, we had Liz and Holly and people talking in the hall as well. It brought a whole different element to the festival, the idea of, like, it wasn't just about music, it was about ideas, collaborations, and the idea of a creative happening. And Michael's very, very good at that. He brings people together.
What started as, I guess, a reciprocal invite, when me and Scott invited Roddy to chair our book festival show, Roddy then invited us to come up and do Iona, and then it grew, and Scott brought the whole band. They did a Frightened Rabbit thing, and then I ended up evolving the Noiriki side of things, so I brought Liz Lockhead. It just sort of evolved and bubbled up, because everyone was so enthusiastic to come. It's like Scott wanted to bring everyone, I wanted to bring everyone, and then all of a sudden about 12 or 14 of us arrived out of our
Descended
two
onto
little,
the island.
two little person troupe.
We, us pair, in beautiful wigs, shimmy through the busy streets, our moon faces full like Christmas bellies. Our coy, curling grins greet friends and strangers. Hello, and very, very, merry nice, and soon we must, yes, yes. We get home exhausted, unclip our smiles, they fall to the ground with the heavy thud of metal chains. An evening wraps us, wrapped in its heft, we are a new fur coat. We let our wigs slip from our scalps, peel open in undress. Think the first peak of banana beneath skin. Looks like rough, what's underneath. Until you touch it, treat it to a cheek rub, such secrets we keep. Nearly naked, all our little aerials on, ready to receive the body, its treacle, its gloss. Mission control, we need not be bright like beach life, just need a good scour of sun, sea, sand and salt. Fix your bones to mine, become a coital bow. For it is Christmas Eve, and us in high heels, clogs, frocks and frowns are now in none. Us in public are now in private, so come, let us strip together forever, each snow, warn each other to enjoy it, for in the bigger picture, this hot, fleshy love holds us only for seconds. A snowflake on the tongue.
I was just about to explain why you shouldn't take the blame. Blame the silent majority. American mercury, collective melancholy. You can say it once, you can say it to me. And we're living in a minimal city with the architecture in LA. Moving through a minimal city with the architecture in LA. Together in a minimal city with the architecture in LA. The architecture in LA. You think you're living in some astral plane, will never feel the strain of the expectations of a community. Epistemology, cash point technology, material dreams, yeah, they won't set you free. And you're living in a minimal city with the architecture in LA. Moving through a minimal city with the architecture in LA. Together in a minimal city with the architecture in LA. The architecture in LA.
The exciting thing about the festival for me is also playing with that, the context of it. You know, that people would imagine what a music festival in Iona would be, but we deliberately set out to do something different. You know, you can juxtapose this kind of Hebridean traditional setting with quite edgy music and quite experimental sounds, and that works really well.
And we're living in a minimal city with the architecture in LA. Moving through a minimal city with the architecture in LA. Together in a minimal city with the architecture in LA. The architecture in LA.
Mais que faire?
temps quand il fait froid. Je peux presque pas.
Yeah, the highlight for me is definitely the kind of friendship aspect, the gathering together of people, and that includes performers and audience.
Yeah.
And now we've kind of established something and people have really made a connection to each other through it.
There's something about when you bring an audience and the musicians, so everybody has to make the journey to the place. There's something transformative happens on it when people make that journey here. Something magical happens.
Exactly, yeah. Elizabeth Hanks was a writer and a poet from America, from Los Angeles, and it's that idea of bringing a diverse group of people, writers, musicians, all together is really what we're kind of all about. We're trying to create that experience. So on film it's different than actually if there's an audience, but at the same time I think the film reflects what the festival is trying to do.
Honey Eater. On the other side of sleep the high river rushes. The perverse drive to throw myself in wins night after night. A girlish gasp, and then I'm gone. Dreaming is a serious business. I'm schooled, straight-backed. My drowning is specific, my puddle of limbs purposeful. Then the eyes roll back with delight. To be a honey eater is to be a disciplined glutton. On the other side, I am laid out, funereal still. But behind my peachy lids, I am feasting. We are waltzing for hours, sunk, lost to the world. In the morning I return sneaking, my feet still damp and my ears ringing. How many bedrooms are used incorrectly, whose sheets hold no scent of reverie, no pillows sticky from honeyed lips, all these cities of little clocks laying down beside each other, wound. But my secret life has a price. I have made myself strange. Gone too long without the smell of dry land. At the bottom my lungs fill with water brackish with fantasy. Too pale, I squint through the waking hours, can only mumble with seaweed for a tongue, and an oracle makes a lousy lay. So I surface, gasping, naive of daylight, gowned at tea time, tipsy on two legs. Dreaming is a serious business. But there is no sinking one's teeth into honey, and I am starving. So bring on the horn. Bring on the marrow.
So yeah, the festival helped create a new space in Iona, literally and physically. and there's now a new building. And so it's interesting for us to respond to that new space and see where it takes us next. The new hall has, 2 or 3 different spaces in it, opens up potential for all kinds of other things apart from music. There's no better way to describe space than with performance art or dance. And so it's great to have Jade up, moving through the space. That was partly because we couldn't have an audience due to the pandemic, but we took that and turned it around and used it as a positive to, given we had an empty space, have a dancer exploring it and moving through it.
There isn't anything like this in Los Angeles where there's support of programs and artists who get grants, who can put on events and things like that. So anytime I'm here and I get kind of like brought into these things, it's always, I always take it home with me because it's a really special thing, and the fact that there's support for it, logistically and financially and emotionally and creatively, that's a special thing. That's a really wonderful thing, and to have that in a place like this that's a blessing.
That's we've been putting poetry into the walls and music into the walls and dancing into the walls and singing into doing all this stuff has really been good for the vibe of the place.
Yeah.
Set a precedent.
Time is the condition I'm in. Not sadness out of control. Footprints over feelings you don't recognize or know. And I've noticed you've stopped saying goodbye when you go. Goodbye when you go. Goodbye when you go. Now I'm sat in the corner of the bow bar, and there's an emptiness safely in between. And I'm keeping up my traditions to ignore all those around me. No, I won't, no, I won't, no, I promise that I won't say goodbye when I go. Say goodbye when I go. Say goodbye when I go. Low soul, I wish I could go back home. Innocence getting captured. Where have all those dreams and myths and expectations gone? Gone along with the low soul. Low soul, you made it clear that disappeared to go. Innocence getting captured. I made out your initials in the snow, full of heaven for the low soul. Full of heaven for the low soul. Full of heaven for the low soul.
I have stolen all the shiny, shiny parts of you, added to my private stash of unraveled stories I plucked from your man mouth. I am such a clever bird. I used to be a girl, now magpie with the darting eye, the call to leave everywhere, always. Only songs, songs where there used to be words. I am building us a nest that we may never use. You, your skin left on land, have gone where I cannot follow, down to the cold and wet that you need, salty pelt slicked dark. My bird heart is terrified of the water. Do you ever see the kelp and remember when I was still a girl with long tangled hair? Or are there only sulky thoughts now? The hunger, shy of the skiffs, regret each time you have to surface? I left my trees for these cliffs, and I do not belong. The gulls bully me. I'm keeping watch though, and my tidy mouth gathers, hoping you remember to come home, home. Strangers, people salute me in my white breast to ward off solitude, my bad omen of childless juju. They mistake me for being alone when I am only waiting, working and happy in my bric-a-brac purpose. Why else would a winged thing hop around this muck? Your skin is a shelter to me, tucked between the bramble and stones, against the wind and the rain, where I guard your fading human scent and miss my trees. When you return to me, I will dress you, kiss the dry plains of your man back with my girlish lips, and I will sup on you with a fierce gluttony. But for now I sing, even as my beak is worn from plucking thistledown from these rocks, and my bones grow more empty each night, eyes darting to the sea, the sea.